You are not loud, but your truth is deafening, and that's what terrifies them. They can't stand you, and they don't even know why, but deep down, they feel it. You walk into a room, and their energy shifts. Not because you're doing anything, but because you are everything they pretend to be. You carry something they can't name, can't mimic, can't manipulate. So they do what cowards do: try to dim it, dismiss it, or destroy it. Before we go further, like and subscribe if you're feeling this already. Drop 77 in the comments if you know you're built different. This isn't just a message, it's a signal. And when you engage, you're helping more chosen ones out there wake up to who they really are. And trust, when one of us rises, the whole frequency shifts. Let's get this message where it needs to go. Now, let's talk. Let's talk about you, the chosen one who's been walking around with ancient knowledge hidden behind tired eyes and a humble smile. You've spent years wondering why you just know things without being taught. Why truth hits you in your gut before it ever reaches your ears. Why you feel energy in people's words, even when they're lying through perfect teeth. That's not intuition. That's not luck. That's source-level wisdom, wired directly into your being. You were born with it, and that's what this world can't handle. See, the universe never hid its deepest truths in temples, books, or titles. It hid them in people, quiet ones, watchful ones, you, while the rest were busy chasing degrees, positions, and borrowed beliefs. You were busy being the truth in motion, a walking library, a breathing blueprint, a code so encrypted most can't read it, even while looking straight at you. And because they can't understand it, they try to erase it. They gaslight you, mock your insights, call you too intense, too serious, too deep. But they come back to you when everything falls apart. They ask questions they used to laugh at. They want answers from the same mind they tried to discredit. Because when the noise of the world stops making sense, only the chosen make sound. But let's be real, some of you forgot who you are. You started doubting your light. You let the confusion around you make you question the clarity within you. You started wondering, maybe I'm just overthinking, maybe I'm wrong. Let me stop you right there. You are not overthinking. You are overfeeling in a world that's gone numb. You are seeing in a world trained to be blind. And that's why it hurts. That's why it's heavy. Because carrying knowledge that isn't welcomed is one of the deepest forms of loneliness. But don't confuse isolation with error. The universe doesn't isolate the broken. It isolates the encoded. You've been carrying wisdom that threatens systems, stories, and lies people are addicted to. And that's why they attack. Not because you're wrong, but because you're a threat to the illusion they need to stay asleep. You're not just wise. You are wisdom, personified. And the ones who tried to discredit you, they weren't fighting you. They were fighting the source that flows through you. They were arguing with universal truth and thinking they could win with performance. Now they're haunted by the very things they dismissed, waking up in confusion, tripping over their own lies. Because when someone touches sacred knowledge with dirty hands, there's always a price. You are a sacred text, hidden in plain sight. A holy book walking through a world that can't read your language, but feels your truth. They called it ego. It was clarity. They called it delusion. It was download. They called it weird. It was wisdom. So remember this. The next time you walk into a room and feel the tension rise, don't shrink. That's not intimidation. That's recognition. They know what you carry, even if they'll never admit it. So now that the surface has been scratched, let's go deeper, layer by layer, because if you truly carry that knowledge wired from source, something in you is already leaning in. You feel it, don't you? That quiet pull to stay, to listen, to remember. This message wasn't made to entertain, it was made to awaken. Drop the number 77 in the comments if you know you've been walking around as a hidden book among the blind. Like, subscribe, and share this with another chosen one, someone who's been questioning what they already know. Now, let's open the pages they never expected you to read from. Number 1. They tried to play the teacher, not realizing the lesson was standing right in front of them. The funny thing about people is they'll scoff at what they don't understand and then turn around and mimic it once the world finally catches on. That's what they did to you, chosen one. They thought you were just quiet, just weird, just different. But what they didn't realize was that you weren't speaking from ego. You were streaming from source. And that scares them, because you don't need to open a book to receive truth. You are the book. You're the hidden scripture walking among the unaware. They wanted the spotlight without earning the depth. They studied speeches while you downloaded truths. They practiced talking while you mastered listening. So when you finally spoke, your words didn't sound like anyone else's. They didn't carry fluff, they carried weight. And that weight, it shook them, because you weren't offering opinion. You were moving with pure, aligned knowing. And that's when they knew they couldn't compete. See, you were never looking for wisdom. Wisdom flows through you like water through an ancient riverbed, carving paths, shaping spaces, shifting entire energies. The world chases knowledge, but you hold it, without trying, without effort. It shows up in your presence, in your eyes, in your timing. You say things people didn't know they needed to hear until you say it. That's not talent. That's not intellect. That's alignment. And the worst part for them? They couldn't trace it. They couldn't find the source of your clarity. No guru, no school, no credentials. Just you, standing in your truth, channeling something ancient, something electric, something they can't Google. So they tried to discredit you, tried to humiliate what they couldn't understand, laughed at your language, dismissed your insights, planted seeds of doubt in the people around you, and maybe, just maybe, even in you. And here's where we need to pause, because you let some of it get to you, didn't you? You started wondering if maybe they were right. Maybe you are just making it up. Maybe you don't know what you're talking about. Maybe you're just another overthinker, a deep person in a shallow world. Let me stop you right there. You are not overthinking. You are overfeeling in a system designed to distract. You are not too much. You are just too awake for people committed to sleeping. You are not confused. You are receiving information faster than your current reality can confirm it. And that's the mark of being chosen. Because when the universe chooses someone, it doesn't send them through normal systems. It sends them directly into the world. And with them, it downloads everything they need. Not all at once, but in pieces, codes, fragments, bursts of insight that don't always make sense to others, but make perfect sense when it's time. That's you. You are a holy book hidden in human skin. Not a religious text, not a preacher, not a prophet. You are a living frequency designed to disturb deception. You walk in with your presence alone, and the atmosphere changes. People get nervous, not because you're loud, not because you're aggressive, but because you see them. You see what they're hiding, you hear what they're not saying, and you read what's between the lines. That's why they flinch. That's why they try to silence you. Because deep down, They know the truth is more comfortable buried. They don't want healing. They want control. They don't want clarity. They want comfort. And you? You are neither safe nor soft for their illusions. You're the reality check they didn't ask for, and the truth bomb they can't avoid. But let me remind you, your presence alone is prophecy, not in a religious way, in an energetic one. You don't tell the future. You disrupt the patterns that are leading people to repeat the past. You don't need validation because your clarity comes from alignment, not applause. And when you walk in that truth, you stop doubting. You stop explaining. You stop shrinking to fit rooms that were built on lies. Because here's what they'll never say out loud. You haunted them before you even opened your mouth. Your energy made them question their masks. Your knowing made their performances collapse. Your wisdom, calm, steady, unstoppable, made them realize they never really had it like that. And now, the very people who once dismissed you are lurking, watching, silently decoding your every move. And it kills them that they have to follow someone they once laughed at. So let them watch, let them sweat. Because you weren't just born with light. You were born with source code woven into your spirit. They were never fighting your opinion. They were fighting the universe that lives inside you. And trust, when people do that, the universe responds. So stand tall, speak when it's time, move when it's right, and trust that everything flowing through you is meant to disrupt. You are the reminder they didn't want. You are the mirror they avoided. You are the proof that truth can't be taught. It must be carried. And you've been carrying it all along. Number 2, they feel exposed when you walk in, and they should. You want to know why they react to you like that? Why people get uncomfortable? Why some avoid eye contact? Why the energy shifts the second you open your mouth, or even before? It's simple. You're the truth in human form, and most people are addicted to lies. In a world built on filters, fake smiles, curated identities, and scripted beliefs, someone like you, real, raw, and deeply connected to something higher than social programming, is a walking disruption. You don't follow the script, you see through it. And that's why you're dangerous. Not dangerous in a violent way, dangerous in a vibrational way. Because when you enter the room, you carry something no one taught you. You carry knowing, not opinion, not second-hand theories, but direct, deep-rooted knowing. It flows from the universe straight through your bones. You are the signal, whether you speak or stay silent. And that's what makes them flinch. Most people have built their entire lives on illusions, ideas handed down by broken systems, fearful leaders, and cultural programming. They've spent years repeating lies until they sounded like truth. They don't know who they are. They only know who they were told to be. And then you show up, and suddenly their whole identity feels fragile. You didn't have to expose them. They felt exposed just being near you. Your presence alone questions everything they've accepted. That's why some people are drawn to you without knowing why. Your energy feels like clarity, like safety, like peace they've never known, but always wanted. And others? They avoid you like you're a virus, because your truth threatens the fake reality they're still clinging to. You've noticed it, haven't you? People either want to be around you constantly or can't stand to be near you at all. There's rarely a middle ground, and that's because you aren't neutral. You're not a mild flavor. You're not here to blend in. You're here to reveal, to awaken, to shift the entire frequency of the space you're in. And it shows. They try to play it cool, but you see it. The nervous laughter, the forced eye contact, the passive-aggressive comments, the weird vibe that has no logic but feels heavy. That's not in your head. That's real. That's what happens when someone who's been faking peace comes into contact with authentic alignment. And yes, they'll call you names to make themselves feel safe. Too intense, too deep, too serious. But that's not about you. That's about them not being ready for what you bring. Because here's the truth. Your wisdom is confrontational, even when you're not trying to be. You speak calmly, but it lands like thunder. You say one sentence, and it echoes in someone's mind for days. You walk in, and it feels like a spotlight just hit every lie in the room. You weren't taught this. You were coded with it, and that's what's haunting them. You are a walking contradiction to everything the system told them was truth. You didn't get your knowledge from a podium or a textbook. You got it from silence, from pain, from listening when the world was screaming, from downloads the average mind can't even process. And that makes you not just powerful, but dangerous to the lie. So they'll resist you, push you out, call you the problem, but make no mistake. They don't hate you because you're wrong. They hate you because you're right, and they can't unsee it. But let's be honest. Sometimes you doubted yourself, didn't you? Sometimes their reaction made you question your truth. You wondered if maybe you are too much, if maybe the problem is you, if maybe being this awake is a curse. Let me say this clearly. You are not too much. You are too true for a world that rewards lies. Stop second-guessing yourself just because your energy makes the mask wearers sweat. Stop watering down your message because the shallow can't handle the depth. Stop shrinking because others didn't do the work to grow. You weren't made to comfort illusions. You were made to crack them. And now that you're standing tall, glowing in your truth, they're scrambling to keep their fake peace from crumbling. But it's already too late. The knowing is in the room. The light is in the building. You are the page they tried to skip, but now everyone's reading. You didn't ask to be this way. You were assigned this frequency, because the universe knew that only certain souls could carry this kind of weight without breaking. So don't you dare dim. Don't you dare apologize for being the walking truth in a world built on scripted lies. You are not just here to observe the illusion. You are here to end it. Number 3. They're not afraid of you. They're afraid of what you make them see. The fear they carry isn't about you. It's about what you represent. When you walk into a room, you don't just bring presence, you bring pressure. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because your energy demands truth. And most people spend their entire lives building walls to avoid it. They're not disturbed by your words. They're disturbed by what those words unlock. You carry a frequency that forces people to confront the lies they've been living in, the roles they've been playing, the masks they've forgotten they're even wearing. And that makes you dangerous. Because this world was built on illusion. It runs on scripts, systems, and stories designed to keep people small, obedient, and distracted. From birth, people are taught what to think, how to act, what to believe, who to follow. They aren't encouraged to know. They're trained to repeat, to submit, to fall in line. So when someone like you shows up, someone who knows without being told, sees without being shown, and questions everything, it sends a ripple through the entire structure. You are a glitch in the program, and they don't know how to fix you, so they try to silence you. They fear the knowledge you carry because it doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't wait for validation. It doesn't bow to tradition. You weren't programmed by their systems. You were downloaded by the universe. You came here with clarity that disrupts the norm. Your wisdom doesn't follow a path. It is the path, and that terrifies people whose safety depends on everyone staying asleep. You are the light they didn't prepare for, the page they couldn't edit, the truth they can't spin. And you've felt it, haven't you? That resistance, that tension, the way people suddenly shift around you, the way they go quiet when you speak truth. It's not confusion, it's fear. Not fear of you, but fear of what they might have to face if they start listening to you. Because what you carry doesn't come from the news. It doesn't come from textbooks. It doesn't come from institutions. It comes from source. It's raw, it's real, and it doesn't care about being palatable. So of course they try to discredit you. They can't allow your voice to get too loud. They can't let your presence wake too many people up. Because if others start hearing you, really hearing you, the illusion they've protected for so long will start to fall. The system doesn't fear violence. It fears awareness. And you. You are awareness in human form. This is why, historically, the ones who speak truth, real truth, are always silenced, brushed off, labeled crazy, dangerous, or too much. Not because they're wrong, but because they're right at the wrong time. Right in a way that threatens the script. Right in a way that makes people uncomfortable. Right in a way that can't be controlled. But let's flip this around for a second, because while they fear your knowing, you've feared it too, haven't you? You've doubted it. You've questioned why you just know things you can't explain. Why your body reacts before your mind catches up. Why you say things that make people uncomfortable, and then watch those very things come true. You wondered if maybe you were imagining it. Maybe you're reaching. You're not. That's not imagination. That's activation. That's the code inside you lighting up because it recognizes a lie when it walks in. That's what happens when you're a living signal in a world full of noise. So stop shrinking to make others comfortable. Stop second-guessing your inner knowing. Stop acting like your awareness is a burden when it's the very gift that sets you apart. You were never supposed to be accepted. You were meant to disrupt. You're not here to fit in. You're here to reveal. You're not here to follow their narrative. You're here to expose the plot holes. Because when someone walks around with source-coded wisdom, they don't just change minds, they shift realities. Let them be afraid. Let them call you names. Let them keep clinging to the stories that feel safe. You keep walking in your knowing. Keep speaking when it's time. Keep carrying the truth, even if your voice shakes. Because every word you drop, every look you give, every boundary you hold, is teaching. You don't need a podium. You are the message. And in case you forgot, you are the page they weren't supposed to find. The sentence that breaks the spell. The truth they buried, now walking. And that's why they're scared. Number 4, they can challenge the words, but they can't touch the writer. They've tried everything, haven't they? Ignoring you, mocking you, gaslighting your insight, acting like your words hold no weight, like your clarity needs their confirmation to be real. But here you are, still standing, still knowing, still unmoved. Because your wisdom isn't borrowed, it's not studied, it's etched into your being. You didn't go looking for truth. You are truth. And there's nothing anyone can do to remove it. They can call you crazy, but it won't make your intuition disappear. They can call you wrong, but it won't stop the way your words keep coming true. They can label you arrogant, delusional, unstable, But what they can't do is unwrite what the universe carved into your core before you even knew who you were. And that's what terrifies them most. See, they're used to information being bought, studied, earned through systems they can control, titles they can hand out, boxes they can check off. But your wisdom? It didn't come from their classrooms. It came from your soul work. It came from silence, from storms, from shedding everything false until all that remained was truth. You didn't just wake up one day with insight. You were built for it, coded for it, sent here with it already embedded. And they don't know what to do with someone who carries what they can't trace. So they try to measure you by the standards they created. Where did you learn that? What qualifies you to say this? Who gave you the right? But the truth is, no one did. You didn't get permission. You didn't wait for a podium. You didn't need an audience. You just knew. And you weren't loud about it either. You didn't show up screaming for attention. You moved quietly, yet with precision. You observed before you spoke. And when you did speak, the whole room paused. Because what came out wasn't just conversation. It was clarity. It was cutting. It was clean. It landed. And that shook them. Because people chase knowledge. They pay for it, steal it, borrow it, and sell it. But you embody it. It's in your walk, your tone, your timing. You don't need notes. You are the source material. That's what it means to be a holy Bible, hidden amongst humanity. Not in a religious sense, but in a resonant one. You hold pages no one else has read yet. You speak in truths the world hasn't caught up to. You echo the frequency of something higher, something eternal, and something that cannot be faked. So they try to shake you, test you, make you doubt yourself, but you don't move. Because when knowledge comes from the inside out, you can't be erased. You don't need their acceptance because their systems were never built to recognize your kind of intelligence. Their institutions hand out degrees, but you were handed downloads. Their world crowns the loudest. But your power is rooted in silence, in stillness, in knowing without ever needing to prove it. And yes, they'll hate that. They'll try to chip away at you, try to poke holes in your clarity, but deep down, they know. They feel it. Even when they don't want to admit it, they know you're right. They know you speak from something real. They know your energy doesn't flinch. They know you walk with a confidence they didn't give you, and that means they can't take it away. And you? You stopped asking for validation a long time ago because you realized no one else has the answer key to your soul. You realized that waiting for people to get it only slows you down. So now you speak when it's time. You hold the line. You trust the wisdom that chose you long before they questioned it. Because this isn't just confidence. This is calibration. You are aligned with a knowing that goes beyond logic. You didn't choose this. You were chosen for this. And no matter how much noise they throw your way, they will never be able to silence the signal that lives inside of you. You don't need a podium. You are the message. You don't need a degree. You are the proof. You don't need to be seen. Because you see everything. And that's what makes your wisdom unshakable. It was never theirs to validate. So it will never be theirs to erase. Number 5. They flipped every page looking for dirt, but found a story too clean to touch. They wanted so badly for you to be fake. They needed it. They hoped for it. They searched through your life, through your past, through your energy, trying to find one thing they could use to prove you were just like them. Flawed, false, faking it. They thought if they could find even one crack, it would justify their discomfort around you. If they could just expose one weakness, one contradiction, maybe they could sleep at night, knowing that you aren't what you appear to be. But every time they went digging, they came up empty. Because what you carry doesn't come with a paper trail. It doesn't come with a how-to guide. It's not taught. It's not earned. It's embedded. You're not performing enlightenment. You are the embodiment of it. You walk with a kind of calm, clarity, and confidence that no degree, no title, no certificate can hand out. And that's exactly what unsettles them. You are the answer they've been chasing, standing right in front of them. While others run from one idea to the next, piecing together fragments of truth from books, speakers, and systems, you walk around already knowing, not everything, but enough. Enough to speak when no one else can. Enough to sense what others ignore. Enough to disturb the air without even saying a word. They hate that. Because you didn't earn your presence in a way they can measure. You didn't follow their path. You didn't get permission to shine. You just did. And it eats at them. Because the world tells them that truth comes through suffering, through work, through hierarchy, through steps. And here you are, moving like you skipped all that. What they don't see is that your path was suffering. It was silent work. The universe shaped you in private before it ever showed you in public. What they're seeing now is the polished result of a process they were never meant to understand. And let's be honest, they don't want truth. They want control. They don't want to know your story. They want to rewrite it. But here's the problem. You're a living text, not an open document. They can't edit what the universe already published. You are a walking contradiction to their assumptions. Soft, yet sharp. Silent, yet undeniable. Peaceful, yet powerful. You don't play by their rules, and you don't speak their language. And that's why they fear you. Because your story isn't loud, but it's felt. Your presence isn't flashy, but it's final. And that kind of authenticity, it's impossible to compete with. So they try to discredit you, whisper about your past, dig up anything they can twist, but they find nothing solid. Because the truth is, your story was written in a language they don't understand. It's written in healing, in survival, in moments you never shared out loud, in decisions you made when no one was watching. It's in the way you carry yourself without ever needing to prove yourself. You've lived through storms they wouldn't have survived. And you didn't come out bitter, you came out brighter. That's what scares them, not just your wisdom, but the way you got it. The way you're still standing, still glowing, still unbothered, even after everything they threw your way. They thought you'd crack. But instead, you evolved. They thought your silence was a weakness. But now they realize it was just you listening to Source. So when they say, "Who do you think you are?" say nothing. Just keep moving, because they don't even know how to ask the right questions. You are not a chapter in someone else's story. You are the book they were never meant to understand. You are the knowledge they tried to suppress walking in human form. Let them talk. Let them guess. Let them spin whatever stories they need to sleep at night. The truth is not yours to force. It is yours to carry. And as you continue to rise, remember, you're not rising alone. You're rising because the story already said you would. Your story isn't unwritten, it's encoded. And no lie, no rumor, no attempt to discredit you can erase what's already been sealed in spirit. They searched for flaws and found fire. They wanted a reason to dismiss you, but found a reason to fear you. And now they're realizing the truth. You were never here to be understood. You were here to be remembered. Number 6. They tried to rewrite your story, but the ink was never theirs to touch. They wanted to reduce you to a paragraph in their narrative, one they could edit, distort, and delete at will. They thought if they repeated the lie loud enough, it would drown out the truth. If they attacked your character often enough, eventually others would believe them. If they buried your name deep enough in dirt, maybe no one would notice the gold beneath. But it didn't work, because here you are, still standing, still rising, still speaking, still being everything they swore you weren't. And now, they're the ones exposed. Every storm you endured, every shadow you walked through, every betrayal they sent your way, it didn't erase you, it revealed you. They tried to write you off like a passing idea, but all they did was amplify the truth they hoped would never surface. The real reason they fear you isn't because you're loud. It's because you're undeniable. Because you live in something they don't understand: truth. You carry a power that can't be reshaped or rewritten. And no matter how many rumors they spin, no matter how many people they try to turn against you, it always backfires in the end. Because truth has a way of circling back. And when it does, it wipes every lie off the board without even trying. You are not built on illusion. You exist outside the system that taught them to fake it. And that makes you unmanageable. See, they need the crowd's approval to feel real. They wear their masks so long, they forget who they were without them. Their entire sense of self is stitched together by performance, control, and curated perception. But you walk in untouched by it all. And that alone makes you a threat. They couldn't make you chase status. They couldn't lure you with validation. They couldn't force you to play along. So they did the only thing cowards know how to do. They tried to destroy your narrative. They tried to paint you as unstable, as arrogant, as dangerous, as irrelevant. They needed people to question you because they couldn't compete with you. But here's the part they didn't see coming. Your story doesn't run on their ink. It was written by source, etched into your soul, sealed with resilience. And every attempt they made to tear it down only added another chapter of evidence. They thought your silence was an invitation to write over you, but your silence was thunder. And now it's echoing back through every lie they ever told. And let's be real, this didn't just hurt you, it shook you, because some of their tactics worked for a moment. People did pull away, doubts did creep in. But even through the confusion, something deeper inside you stayed steady. A knowing, a stillness, a reminder that this battle wasn't just personal, it was spiritual. They weren't just trying to erase your voice, they were trying to silence the frequency you carry, that knowing, that wisdom, that alignment. They tried to shut you down because your truth kept showing them everything false in themselves. And truth like yours? It doesn't go quiet. It doesn't expire. It echoes. You don't have to convince anyone anymore. You don't have to prove what's already being felt. You don't need to fight to reclaim your name. Truth has already done it for you. And now, people are seeing it. They're seeing the difference between presence and performance, between real and rehearsed, between who's grounded and who's grasping. You don't need to defend your story. You are the story. The one they tried to bury, the one they misread, the one they couldn't rewrite. Because you don't need a spotlight to shine. You don't need permission to be powerful. You don't need a platform to be heard. You are not a voice in the crowd. You are the frequency they didn't see coming. And no matter how many times they tried to flip the script, they forgot one thing. You were never written in pencil. You were carved in truth. Unchangeable, unshakable, untouchable. Let them keep trying. Let them keep spinning stories. But at the end of the day, they're still stuck in the illusion. And you're still walking in truth. And that's a narrative no one can rewrite. Number 7, they can throw stones, but you were built without cracks. You are walking proof that the system has no control over the soul. That's why they stare. That's why they whisper. That's why they obsess. They can't understand how you're still standing, still glowing, still speaking truth with a steady voice after everything they've done to shake you. They can't figure out why every attempt to smear your image, distort your words, and bury your essence has failed miserably. Why none of it sticks? And the answer is simple. You were never built by them, so you were never breakable by them. You don't move like them. You don't think like them. You don't fear what they fear. You are not wired for obedience to illusions. You are aligned with truth. You're not following the timeline they live on. You move according to something far older, far deeper, far more precise. They're stuck in a world of permission and performance. You walk with instruction, downloaded straight from source. And because you move without needing validation, your very existence becomes a rebellion against everything they've submitted to. That's what bothers them the most. You don't ask for permission. You don't need applause. You don't shrink yourself to fit their limited understanding of what power should look like. You are not a part of their blueprint. You were etched into a higher one, the kind of map that doesn't require updates or outside approval. You were written into reality by the universe itself, and that kind of origin can't be overwritten. They've tried. Oh, they've tried. They've lied on your name, questioned your sanity, pushed narratives that served their ego. But every time they tried to distort the picture, the original truth just came into focus even sharper. The more they tried to bury you, the more obvious it became that your roots run too deep. And now, their hands are dirty, and your reputation is glowing, because while they were playing games with perception, you kept building in silence. While they were busy throwing shade, you were getting brighter. They wanted to prove that you were fake, but they ended up proving how real you are. Let them wonder. Let them watch. Let them sit in confusion, asking themselves, why haven't they fallen yet? Why does nothing seem to stop them? Why do they keep rising no matter what we throw? Here's why. You are untouchable, not because you're lucky, but because you're aligned. You weren't built to bend to lies. You weren't placed here to follow broken systems. You were sent to stand outside of them, to expose them just by being. Your power doesn't come from performance. It comes from presence. And that presence was never designed to blend in. It was created to shift the entire frequency of the room. They fear that. Because when you walk in truth, when you speak from source, when you carry wisdom that can't be explained away or sourced from a textbook, you break every false structure they rely on to feel superior. You remind them of what they gave up. You reflect the freedom they never fought for. You reveal the truth they've buried under comfort and control. And no matter how badly they want to rewrite your narrative or dismiss your voice, they cannot erase what the universe has already inscribed into your being. You don't just survive attacks, you transcend them. You don't get weaker in resistance, you expand. And now you're rising in front of the very people who tried to make sure you'd never be seen. You're glowing in a room they tried to lock you out of. You're being recognized without ever begging for a platform. Why? Because your story isn't a performance. It's a prophecy unfolding. And no, you don't need to fight for your place. You are the place. The space where clarity lives, where truth lands, where lies come to die. So let them keep swinging. Let them keep guessing. Let them keep choking on the silence that surrounds you. Because you don't move with fear. You move with knowing. And when you move like that, you're not just unstoppable, you're untouchable. Number 8, you weren't meant to fit, you were meant to shift everything. They can't figure you out, and that's exactly why they fear you. You're not desperate for attention, you don't chase approval, you don't water down your truth to be accepted by people who couldn't carry even a fraction of your knowing. While everyone else is rehearsing roles, you're remembering purpose. And that's what shakes them to the core, because your existence alone proves that you were designed for something beyond this world's expectations. While they live in survival mode, trying to fit into spaces that shrink them, you live by blueprint, a universal design they can't decode. You don't need permission to speak. You don't need permission to shine, you just do. Because what you carry wasn't handed to you by society. It was inscribed in your spirit long before their opinions even formed. You weren't built to perform. You were built to provoke awakening. And in a world addicted to conformity, someone who doesn't bow, bend, or beg becomes dangerous. You are that someone. You don't just stand out. You stand alone, unbothered by their whispers, untouched by their judgment. Because when you know you were chosen, truly chosen, you stop entertaining debates about worth. You stop proving what's already self-evident. Your clarity is unsettling, your self-assurance threatening, not because you're arrogant, but because you're not controlled by the things they're enslaved to. You're not moved by status. You're not softened by flattery. You're not weakened by isolation. And that kind of presence, rooted, steady, divine in nature, cannot be manipulated. So they project, they hate, they mock, but none of it works. Because no amount of noise can shake someone who's been calibrated by Source itself. You were never meant to be like them. And deep down, they've always known that. You don't just walk into rooms, you interrupt patterns. You don't just speak, you pierce illusions. You don't follow the script, you rewrite the energy. That's why you trigger them. They've built their lives on external praise, on validation loops, on systems designed to control how people think, act, and believe. But you bypass all of that. You move by instinct. You speak from inner knowing. And that's why nothing they do can contain you, because you were never theirs to shape. Your blueprint didn't come from them. It came before them, wired into your soul, protected by the universe, activated by every betrayal, every storm, every silent season you thought would break you. And now, you're rising. Not with noise, not with applause, but with certainty. Because once you realize you were created to disrupt, not conform, you stop waiting to be understood. You stop needing a seat at tables that were never built for you. You start owning your role as the blueprint itself, not the follower of it. They don't want you to know that. They want you confused, unsure, shrinking. Because if you ever fully step into that knowing, their control shatters. So they send distractions, they start rumors, they gaslight your perception. But here's the thing, the blueprint doesn't panic when people misunderstand the design. It just keeps building, it keeps unfolding, it keeps rising. And You've reached the part of your path where no lie can stick, no detour can delay, no attack can undo what's already been set in motion. Your story was never random. Your knowing was never an accident, and your power was never up for debate. So stop explaining your frequency to those tuned to static. Stop holding your light hostage in rooms that benefit from your confusion. Stop questioning what the universe has already confirmed within you. You are not like them, and that's the point. You are not here to be tamed. You are here to be unmistakable. Let them fear what they can't figure out. Let them scramble to decode what was never for them. Because while they seek permission, you were already written into purpose. You are the blueprint they were never supposed to see walking. And now, it's too late. Number 9. They can fight the truth, but they'll never win against the source. They meet in silence, whisper in corners, replaying the same question over and over. Why won't it work? Why won't they fall? They plot, they scheme, they try to erase your impact. But here's the truth. You cannot dismantle what you didn't build. You are not a product of their systems. Your power didn't come from popularity, and your presence isn't held up by public approval. Every attempt to silence you only made you louder. Every lie only confirmed your truth. You are not a threat because of what you say. You are a threat because of what you are. A living reminder that truth doesn't need permission to exist. Let them talk. Let them gather. Let them scramble. Because no matter how many times they try to rewrite the story, you remain the page that cannot be erased. And now, the truth stands firm, unshaken, untouched, and undeniable. You were never made to blend in. You were born to be the living proof that real power doesn't come from noise, but from knowing. Let them wonder, let them fear. Your presence speaks louder than any rumor ever could. If this message resonated with the deepest part of you, like and subscribe to Keep This Energy Moving. Drop the number 77 in the comments if you know you were chosen to carry what can't be taught. And share this with another hidden one who needs the reminder. You are the blueprint.